Who is this irresistible creature who has an insatiable love for the dead?
You know, it's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to get scared.
Stop the prime time, bitch!
Gail's not here!
I'm not interrupting anything, am I? You three look deep in thought.
I said talk to me, damn it, or else I'm gonna throw you in the fire!
You stupid bitch! You filthy slut!
One ugly motherfucker.
Did you think our story was over?
You're dead.
You, of all people, know that dead is just a word.
He's here.
Welcome back to year 2 of Nerd Nation's Halloween Spectacular. Tonight we're going to be talking about a new release, Black Phone 2. This review will be spoiler free, so if you haven't seen Black Phone 2 yet and want to, you can keep watching this video. This was one of my most anticipated horror movies of the year. The first Black Phone is one of my personal favorite horror movies in recent years, and it's actually the first horror movie I ever saw in theaters, so I was really excited to check out the sequel. Now that I've seen it, Black Phone 2 isn't as good as the first movie. However, that doesn't mean it's bad. In fact, I still think this is a pretty good horror movie. Let's start with the supernatural elements first, because that's what first caught my attention when I saw the trailer for this movie. Spoilers for the first Black Phone, but the grabber dies at the end of that movie. So in the second film, he's basically a spirit haunting our main characters. I think the way this movie executed that premise was really good. The dream sequences are great. They shoot it with like this really grainy film technique, and there's a lot of static noise in the audio. It kind of felt like something you'd see in like an analog horror. I think it was a really great stylistic choice, and it gave this movie its own identity. I would also say the movie's scarier than the first one. The jump scares are fairly obvious, but there weren't too many of them, so it wasn't like a huge issue for me. I think where the true horror lies is these dream sequences. They're really creepy, and a lot of them have very disturbing images. I also think the sound design was very good. The Black Phone is viewed as something you should fear in this movie, so whenever it starts ringing, it really gets your anxiety up. The score is phenomenal as well. Apparently, the movie's scored by the director Scott Derrickson's son, Atticus Derrickson. And man, when I tell you this score was creepy, I mean it. There were moments where I actually got a chill up my spine from how creepy the music was. It's honestly one of my favorite scores of the year so far. I really love the setting of this film. It takes place in a winter camp, which gives it these cozy camp vibes that I always love in horror movies. This feels like a mixture of Friday the 13th meets A Nightmare on Elm Street, and it makes me realize how much I want another installment in both those franchises. Something I think this movie does better than the first is the character writing. I really liked what they did with Finney here. He's still trying to adjust to his life after being kidnapped and attacked by the grabber, and to put it lightly, he's not handling it very well. It makes it all the more interesting to see how he's going to interact with the grabber and fight back against him again. I also think Gwen is phenomenal in here. She's basically the lead of this movie, and she's great. Madeline McGraw is incredibly talented, and she's excellent here. I really love the emphasis on family in this movie. Without going into too much detail, Finney and Gwen's mother and father are much more prominent in this film. And I really love seeing the character development that the parents get in here, especially their dad. I love what they did with the characters here, and I have no doubt that it's going to make rewatching the original movie all the more interesting with these added details. However, this movie isn't perfect, and I do think it has a few issues. I think the way they utilized the grabber and making him more of a ghost was handled well, but I think his screen time wasn't handled well. Simply put, he's not in the movie enough. There are a lot of long stretches where he isn't in the film, and I feel like the movie could have used more of him. My biggest issue with the movie is its pacing. The first 45 minutes or so of the movie is basically setting up the plot of the film, and it does drag quite a bit. As such, I found myself just not as interested in this story as I was with the first movie's story. It does get more interesting when the story starts going along, but it just doesn't have that tight pacing the first movie had. I couldn't take my eyes off of the first movie while watching it, but during this one, it did lose my attention a few times. Overall, Black Phone 2 is pretty good, even if it isn't as good as the first movie. It's scary, the supernatural elements are great, the winter camp setting is excellent, and the characters are phenomenal. However, the pacing isn't very good, and despite liking what they did with the grabber here, I just feel like they could have used him more. Still, this is a great horror sequel, and I'd honestly be down to see a third movie if they decide to make one. I'm going to give Black Phone 2 an 8 out of 10. Guys, thanks so much for watching. I have a few more videos planned before October ends, so make sure you stay tuned for those. With that said, I'll see you guys in the next video.